What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Good to be back on the show here. So we had a great week of football so far. Ready to get the weekend started tonight with some more college games. Let's get into it here. Starting off with Tuesday night football, we had a couple games. Sam Houston getting the win 10-7 over FIU. It was a tough outing there for both teams. Tuesday was it was tough to get points on Tuesday for both games, but Sam Houston did get bowl eligible for the first time in their FBS history. In their first year, actually eligible for a bowl game after their 2-year transition period ended last season. So, Jace Bauer was playing in this one. Their starter, Hunter Watson, still injured. However, Bauer was decent, 66.7%, 76 yards, 15 carries for 72 yards. His legs were paramount in this game. Got the lead there, 7-0. FIU stormed back, got it tied, and then Sam Houston ultimately kicked the field goal, made a stop on defense, got the win. FIU started their normal starter, Kewan Jenkins, was horrendous. 1 of 9, 11.1%, 16 yards a pick. Shaden Peary came in, wasn't great, but a lot better than Jenkins for sure. 7 of 12, 58.3%, 58 yards, touchdown, 10 carries for 25 yards as well. FIU running back Shamari Lawrence, he led the game in rushing outside of Jace Bauer, 8 carries, 44 yards. FIU wide receiver Eric Rivers leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 42 yards, and a score. And defensively, I got to go with Sam Houston linebacker Kavian Gaither, 7 tackles, 4 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defense, and a pick. FIU did cover plus 6.5, under 46.5. I think that was the easiest under I've ever hit. The other game on Tuesday, Louisiana Tech, 14-10 over UTEP. UTEP officially becomes the first team ineligible for a bowl game this year. Obviously, you can make a bowl game at 5-7 if there are not enough 6-6 or above teams. So there is somewhat of a hope for UTEP. Got their first win in almost a year last week, losing this one here. But Evan Bullock for the Bulldogs was really good, 73.3%, 248, a touchdown. UTEP getting 2 quarterbacks. Skylar Locklear was the starter, 57.1%, 84 yards and a touchdown. He got injured. So it was JP Pickles. Yes, Pickles is his last name. Just 1 of 2 for 50%, 1 yard, 12 carries, 53 yards. UTEP running back Javon Jackson, 100-yard game for him, 22 carries, 112 yards. Leading the game in receiving was Bulldogs wide receiver Jimmy Holiday, 6 for 93. Also 6 carries for 18 yards and 0 for 1 on his only pass attempt. And defensively, I got to go with UTEP safety Corey Chapman, 8 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 3.5 tackles for loss. UTEP plus 6.5 covered, under 48.5 also very easily. On Wednesday, Kennesaw State getting their first FBS win as a program, 27-24 in their first season in the FBS. It was a masterful performance by the Owls offensively and defensively. Davis Bryson benched last week, got the start in this one. He was fantastic. 80% completion, 189, a touchdown, 8 carries for 20 yards. Caden Salter for the Flames. He was shaky, just 55%, 206, 3 touchdowns, a pick, 9 carries, 87 yards. Of course, Salter, excellent at running the ball when he can't find anything in the passing game. But Kennesaw running back Michael Benefield led the game in rushing outside of Salter, 12 carries, 16 carries, 54 yards, touchdown, and 1 reception for 0 yards. You had Kennesaw wide receiver Jaden Robinson leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 72 yards. And defensively, I got to go with Kennesaw defensive back Tyler Hallam. He was everywhere. 6 tackles, 4 of them solos, 3 pass defense, and 1 pick. Kennesaw plus 27.5 wins outright. Over 47.5, which I hit on that as well, 51 in that game. The other game on Wednesday, Jacksonville State 42-20 over Mid Tennessee, and sweated out the under in this one. But Nicholas Vadiato for the Blue Raiders, 69.4%, 297, 2 touchdowns. Really a good game. Just could not keep up with the JSU offense. Tyler Huff passing again has been okay, 55.6%, 137 and a touchdown. But rushing the ball, this guy is outstanding. 18 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns for Huff on the ground, 3 total on the night. He got a big night from his running back, Trey Stewart, 21 carries, 210 yards, a touchdown, did have a fumble. The only damper on his night, 2 catches for 24 yards as well for Stewart. 2 touchdown night for his teammate and Georgia transfer Andrew Paul as well in his 5 carries. Leading the game in receiving was Mid-Tennessee wide receiver Omari Kelly, 8 for 128. His teammate also over 100, tight end Holden Willis, 6 for 109 and a touchdown. There was not a lot of stats, so I'm going to go with Jacksonville State safety Zechariah Poyser, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 pass defense. This man is having a great season at the safety position. Jacksonville State minus 20.5, covers under 64.5, which I had, again, it was a sweat. Had to get a 4th down stop for Jacksonville State in the red zone, and then they ran the clock out. Last night, 2 more games. Old Dominion getting to 500 at 47-19 romp over Georgia Southern. Both of the college games last night, blowout victories for the home squads. Colton Joseph, I mean, this kid was outstanding. 76.9%, 304, 4 touchdowns, 8 carries, 69 yards, another score on the ground, 5 total for the freshman quarterback, who has been a revelation for this Monarchs team led by Ricky Ronnie. Georgia Southern, J.C. French got the start, 58.6%, 259, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 4 carries for 23 yards. Dexter Williams also playing in this one, 57.1%, 44 yards, a touchdown, 4 carries, 16 yards, and a costly fumble that led to a score for the Monarchs. Running back Aaron Young for ODU, he led the game in rushing. The Rutgers transfer, 14 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Leading the game in receiving with a 100-yard night, ODU wide receiver Isaiah Page, 7 receptions, 100 yards. 2 touchdown night for his teammate, wide receiver Demarion Houston, 4 for 64 and 2 scores. And defensively, I am going to go with the guy that had 2 turnovers, ODU safety Will Jones II, 3 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. ODU plus a half over 51.5 hit easily, 66 in that game. And the last one here, number 19, Pitt, still undefeated. Pitt Panthers 7-0, 41-13 destruction of Syracuse. Man, it was tough. I had the over in this game, so that did not hit, but just needed a little bit more from the Pitt offense or the Syracuse offense. Realistically, McCord did give me 3 touchdowns, but it's all right. Speaking of McCord, 54.7%, 321, 5 picks, 1 rushing touchdown as well. Pitt quarterback Eli Holstein, 73.3%, 108, 2 touchdowns, 6 carries for 20 yards. Got dinged up at the end of this game, so that's something to watch for Pitt fans going forward. Nate Yarnell came in later for him, 71.4%, 36 yards. Pitt running back Desmond Reed, he led the game in rushing, 11 carries, 47 yards. Not a very fruitful night rushing the ball on either side. Syracuse wide receiver Emmanuel Ross leading the game in receiving, 5 for 78. And defensively, I mean, it's the 3 touchdown scorers. Pitt linebacker Rasheem Biles, 12 tackles, 7 solos, a sack, tackle for loss, 35-yard pick 6. Pitt linebacker Kyle Lewis, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 59-yard pick 6. And then Pitt linebacker Braylon Lovelace, 2 tackles, 1 solo, a sack, tackle for loss, and 33-yard pick 6. Pitt minus 4.5, covered easily, under 62.5. On to NFL here. The Ravens getting to 5-2 on Monday night, 41-31 over the Bucs in Tampa. Baker Mayfield, 68.9%, 370, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 5 carries for 22 yards. Lamar Jackson was very efficient, 77.3%, 281, 5 touchdowns for Lamar. just short of a perfect passer rating, 2/10 short there, 158.1, 9 carries, 52 yards, and a fumble. Derrick Henry was outstanding once again, especially in the second half. 15 carries, 169 yards, and a 13-yard receiving touchdown. 2-touchdown night for Bucks running back Rachaad White. Caught 2 scores on his 6 targets to go along with 10 carries for 40 yards. Ravens wide receiver Rashad Bateman, a big night for him, over 100 yards receiving, 4 for 121, a touchdown on his 4 targets. 10 targets for tight end Cade Otton on the Bucks, also over 100, 8 for 100 even. 2-touchdown night for tight end Mark Andrews, caught all 4 of his targets for 41 yards, 2 scores. And defensively, I got to go with Ravens corner Marlon Humphrey, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 pass defense, and 2 picks. Ravens -4.5 covered, over 50.5, easily 72 on the first Monday night game. The other game on Monday night, doubleheader, Cardinals getting the win at home, 17-15 over the Chargers, getting one game closer to 500. Justin Herbert for LA. They really threw it a ton in this game, which I was surprised. Cardinals had been one of the worst run defenses in the league, but they really did a great job shutting down J.K. Dobbins and Kimani Vidal in the running game, leading to Herbert needing to throw the ball. 69.2%, 349 for Herbert. Kyler Murray, 53.8%, 145, touchdown, a pick, 6 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown, including a 44-yarder. That was pretty miraculous. Cardinals running back James Conner led the game in rushing, up over 100, 19 carries, 101 yards, caught 2 balls for 51 receiving yards as well. It was a career night for tight end Will Dissly on the Chargers, caught 8 of his 11 targets for 81 yards, lead the game in receiving. And defensively, I got to go with Cardinals defensive tackle Naquan Jones, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. The Cardinals +1.5 went outright, under 44.5. And last night, the Rams 30-20 over the Vikings, 2-game losing streak now for Minnesota. Matthew Stafford was fantastic. I mean, the Vikings had no answer for the Rams passing attack. 73.5%, 279, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Sam Darnold was efficient, just lacked a little oomph. 72%, 240 and 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, the Vikings defense also could not stop him. 23 carries, 97 yards, 5 catches, 19 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson up over 100, lead the game in receiving. Caught 8 of his 9 targets for 115. Puka Nacua, him and Cooper Kupp both returned to this game, and Nacua was all over the place. Caught 7 of his 9 targets, 106 yards in this one. 2-touchdown night for his teammate, wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson, on his 3 targets. And defensively, I got to go with Rams linebacker Jared Verse, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 3 QB hits for the rookie linebacker there. But this one was marred in controversy because it was absolutely ridiculous that the refs did not see this face mask. And it's also not only that, but it's also ridiculous that it's not reviewable. And that's why I posted on X a couple times, or maybe Facebook and X, whatever it was, talk to other people. The NFL has to adopt the UFL's Super Challenge rule. I understand they made the change to the challenges this year that if you get one right, you get a third one. But no, I would rather have one challenge the whole game. You can review anything you want, including a potential penalty that becomes a penalty if the refs see it on review. And that would have worked for Kevin O'Connell in this situation. Although I don't know if you can, I can't remember if you can do it under 2 minutes. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure it at any point in the game, you should be able to do it at any point in the game because the replay can't give a penalty unless you're challenging it and risk losing a timeout. So, yeah, I think the NFL has to adopt the UFL Super Challenge like ASAP because there's just too many games that end like this, or too many non-calls or calls that shouldn't have been calls that affect games in crunch time. So, Yeah, it was very annoying as someone who was on the Vikings side of this one. That's why Jimmy's not here. You didn't want to say some stuff. But yeah, the Rams plus 2.5 went outright over 46.5. College football news. Oklahoma, they are going back to Jackson Arnold this week, so very intriguing decision for Brett Venables. I thought it was a little too late by the time he put Jackson Arnold back into the game last week against South Carolina, but Arnold getting to start at Ole Miss this week. NC State, it is the end of Grayson McCall. He has called it quits after his latest concussion. Yeah, I mean, I hate it. I really hate it. He was super, super talented. His years at Coastal Carolina were awesome. Him and Jamie Chadwell were a great pairing there. And I just hate to see a guy go down, not even, getting a shot at the NFL level yet before, with injuries. So hate to see it, but he's going to start coaching, and I think he's going to make one hell of a coach. Louisville wide receiver Colin Lacey, he is opting out the rest of the year. He is going to redshirt because of injury. He's only played 4 games this year, so doesn't want to lose the ability to redshirt. So he will redshirt the rest of the year. Look for, I would assume, the transfer portal next year potentially. I mean, there's no reason you sit out the rest of the season if you're not going to leave. Just makes no sense to not play. Oregon State, Washington State, they are going to play each other twice next year as part of the scheduling that they needed to do to make the second year of a 2-team conference work before they expand in 2026. So 2 games, a home and away series for Oregon and Washington State. Oregon State, Washington State next year. Missouri going to be without a couple key pieces. Running back Nate Noel with a foot injury. He is out. Quarterback Brady Cook with an ankle injury is doubtful. Someone said, though, that you can never count out Cook playing despite what anyone says. So we will see if he is out there against Alabama or not. Indiana quarterback Curtis Rourke had thumb surgery. He is officially listed as doubtful for their game against Washington tomorrow. Could return next week, though, November 2nd at Michigan, which I think would be one big game that they would definitely need him in going against that Michigan defense. UFL news, we had a trade. The Memphis Showboats acquiring quarterback Quentin Dormady from the San Antonio Brahmas for edge rusher Jordan Ferguson. I love this for Memphis. My Showboats really, and I love, they've had a couple different quarterbacks that they've tried out, and it just has not worked. Case Cookus last year, Troy Williams, Josh Love, none of them worked out. So to bring in Dormady, while he didn't have the greatest season, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he did 3 fumbles as well, I think it's a good play. I mean, the guy has had success before. He did throw for 1,206 yards and got the Brahmas to the championship game behind a harrowing defense. But I think it's a good play for Memphis and new coach Ken Wisnhunt. So, and in terms of San Antonio getting Jordan Ferguson, he's in a loaded room here. Now, not all these guys have re-signed as far as I know, but, they have guys there. Garrett Nelson, Tim Ward, both had 2.5 sacks last year. Delonte Scott with 3.5. While none of them had more than Ferguson, though. Ferguson had 5 last year, 7 tackles for loss, 43 tackles at his outside linebacker / defensive end position. So I think it's a great boost to the pass rush for San Antonio. And they just signed Kellen Mond. So it's going to be interesting. Are they going to go Chase Garber's Kellen Mond? I think that's going to be the battle in training camp potentially for San Antonio. The DC Defenders, very, very excited. They have re-signed running back Abram Smith. I'm super excited to see him back on the field. Torn ACL in the preseason this spring and done for the year, but excited to see him back on the field in 2025. The Renegades re-signing punter Marquette King. He announced he's going to be back in Arlington this year. Big get for them. One of the best and the best UFL punter last year, all UFL selection. And the Battlehawks, they have signed former 49ers edge rusher Kamoko Toure, former third-round pick, I believe it was, of the Colts, and getting a shot there with the UFL. NFL news, we had a couple trades this week involving the Tennessee Titans. They have sent wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2025 conditional fifth-round pick that will become a fourth if Hopkins plays at least 60% of the snaps down the stretch here, and the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. So, sure. I mean, I would not be shocked if they would, considering Mahomes and Coach Reid's track record in the postseason. Also important in this transaction, the Titans are paying roughly $2.5 million of Hopkins' remaining salary this season, so gives Chiefs some cap flexibility there, and Chiefs get a big playmaker that we will probably see this week against the Raiders. The other trade that the Titans did, they sent linebacker Ernest Jones IV to the Seattle Seahawks for linebacker Jerome Baker and a 2025 fourth-round pick. It's interesting. Jones is a guy that can do everything, run and hit, cover as well, stop the run. He can do it all. Was having a great year in Tennessee despite the team only having one win. But still, I think that this is a decent trade for both sides. Jerome Baker, limited in coverage, but signed a free agent deal with the Seahawks this offseason from the Dolphins, and now on his third team. And getting the picks is what the Titans need. They need all the picks they can get. They're looking at 2025 and beyond. Need to get their quarterback of the future on the roster. Regardless of what Brian Callahan says, it is not Will Levis. And the NFL trade deadline is coming up. It is November 5th at 4 p.m. So we have 2 weeks until the deadline. We have 2 more weeks of games before the deadline. So it'll be interesting to see who are the buyers, who are the sellers, who are the teams that are staying pat, whether they want to or because they just don't have the financials to do anything. Very intriguing. Watching the standings every week, seeing who is up, who is down. Injuries as well, obviously, always account for that also. General news, the Bucks, they are going to be wearing their creamsicle uniforms this week. And I know this is one of the most favorite uniforms, I think, in the NFL, alternate uniforms in the NFL, I think, anyways. And the rebranded ones are pretty sweet, to be honest. I kind of do want to get like a Baker Mayfield creamsicle one because that is sweet, especially compared to the old ones. These things are nice. I didn't even know they had white ones. Oh, that's what their new uniforms would look. Oh, that's like a weird revamp of their uniforms. But anyways, yeah, I don't believe they have these in white. I think it's just the creamsicle. But yeah, I like it. I enjoy it with the Buccaneer guy on the head, the helmet there. So yeah, I think it's awesome. And unfortunately, the Bucs are going to lose, as you'll see in the picks. The Browns, they have made a decision. Coach Kevin Stefanski saying Jameis Winston going to be the starter this week as they host the Ravens. So he gets the nod over Dorian Thompson-Robinson. With his finger injury, he's going to be the backup to Winston. And interesting change as well in Cleveland. Coach Stefanski no longer the play caller on offense. It will now be offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey calling the plays this week. So we will see if that makes a difference or not. The Panthers, they are going to quarterback Bryce Young this week. Andy Dalton, in a car accident with his family a couple days ago, sprained his throwing thumb, his right thumb in the accident. So not going to be the starter. He's going to be the backup. So we will see Bryce Young in action in Denver, which is not the easiest place to go and play a game against that Vance Joseph defense. Giants owner John Mara made interesting comments this week saying the team not anticipating making any changes at either head coach or general manager after the season, which I don't know how. I have no clue how you don't just blow it up and go completely new. I feel like that is what the Giants organization needs right now. They need all new blood, new quarterback, new head coach, new GM. If you're all starting on the same day one, I think it makes a lot of sense. So that's just me. Players of the week, AFC offense, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, 77.3% completion, 281, 5 touchdowns, 52 rush yards, and a 158.1 passer rating. Excellent stats on Monday Night Football against the Bucs. NFC offensive was Eagles running back Saquon Barkley, demolishing the Giants for 176 rushing yards, a rushing touchdown, and 11 receiving yards. AFC defense, Broncos linebacker Cody Barton, all the way back last Thursday Night Football, 8 tackles, 1 pass defense, the forced fumble, and a 52-yard fumble return for a touchdown. NFC defense was Rams corner Kobe Durant, 2 tackles, 2 pass defense, a sack, interception, and a forced fumble. AFC special teams was Bengals wide receiver Charlie Jones, 100-yard kick return touchdown, tacked on 39 punt return yards to go along with that. And the NFC special teams was Lions kicker Jake Bates, 7 total points, 4 of 4 on his extra points, and he hit the game-winning 44-yard field goal to beat Minnesota. We have the 50 Modern Era Hall of Fame semifinalists announced. That I believe it's 3 to 5. I think is the number that can get in, because I think the total class is limited to 8, and that means a max of 3 coach contributor seniors finalists. So you can get 3 in with that, and then 5 max on the modern era finalists. So the 50 are quarterbacks, Giants, Eli Manning in his first year ballot. Oilers, Titans, Steve McNair. Running backs, Seahawks, Sean Alexander. Giants, Tiki Barber. Oilers, Titans, Eddie George. Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch in his first ballot campaign. Jags, Fred Taylor. He was a finalist last year. Eagles, Ricky Waters. Wide receivers, Cardinals, Anquan Bolden. Rams, Torrey Holt, a finalist last year. Jags, Jimmy Smith. Panthers, Steve Smith Sr. Steelers, Hines Ward. Colts, Reggie Wayne, a finalist last year. Tight ends, Patriots, Ben Coates. Chargers, Antonio Gates, a finalist last year. Offensive linemen, Bengals offensive tackle Willie Anderson. Lions offensive tackle Lomas Brown. Bills guard Reuben Brown. Saints guard Jari Evans, a finalist last year. Bears center Olin Kreutz. Patriots guard Logan Mankins. Colts center Jeff Saturday. 49ers offensive tackle Joe Staley, first ballot guy. Dolphins offensive tackle Richmond Webb. Cowboys offensive tackle Eric Williams. Raiders guard Steve Wisniewski. Ravens guard Marshall Yonda in a first ballot case. Defensive lineman, Falcons defensive end linebacker John Abraham. Vikings defensive end Jared Allen, finalist last year. Colts defensive end Robert Mathis. Ravens defensive tackle Haloti Ngata. Bucks defensive end Simeon Rice. Chiefs defensive end Neil Smith. Patriots defensive tackle nose tackle Vince Wilfork. Vikings defensive tackle Kevin Williams. Linebackers, Bills Cornelius Bennett. Redskins London Fletcher. Steelers James Harrison. Panthers Luke Kuechly in his first year eligibility. Also, first-year eligibility for Ravens, Terrell Suggs. Defensive backs, Eagles corner Eric Allen, Seahawks safety Cam Chancellor, Patriots safety Rodney Harrison, a finalist last year. Seahawks safety Earl Thomas in his first ballot campaign. Eagles corner Troy Vincent, Cowboys safety Darren Woodson, a finalist last year. Special teams, Steelers kicker Gary Anderson, Redskins kick returner, punt returner Brian Mitchell, and Patriots Colts kicker Adam Vinatieri, first ballot guy there as well. So these are going to be whittled down a little bit in a couple different stages. And unfortunately, I have 6 circled here. So not really sure where I want to go because it's a mix of first ballot and finalists from last year. So I think the 5 I have gone with are Chargers tight end Antonio Gates, 49ers offensive tackle Joe Staley, Vikings defensive end Jared Allen, Panthers linebacker Luke Kuechly, and Patriots Colts kicker Adam Vinatieri. I think those are my 5 for this year. We'll see if all 5 make it to the finalists list or not in a couple months, but yeah, those are mine. Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams. He has been suspended the next 2 games for performance-enhancing substance abuse policy violation. Accepted the suspension, no appeal. He's going to miss the next 2 games. IR return designated to return here. Jags linebacker Foye Oluokun, Colts defensive lineman DeForest Buckner, Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen, Browns guard Wyatt Teller, and Seahawks offensive tackles Abraham Lucas and George Fant. A lot of big pieces potentially back for those teams. Guys getting placed on IR. Chiefs wide receiver Sky Moore dealing with a core muscle injury. He's going to have surgery on that, I believe. Dolphins quarterback Snoop Huntley as well going on IR today. Injuries. 49ers tight end George Kittle. He is day-to-day with a foot sprain. Bucks wide receiver Chris Godwin. Terrible news on Monday night. Suffered a dislocated ankle. Out for the year, probably. There's a potential, just like Aiden Hutchinson I mentioned last show, if the Bucks would make the Super Bowl, Chris Godwin might be able to make it back for that. Cardinals, big loss for their defense. Linebacker Dennis Gardeck, he has torn his ACL. He is out for the season. Dennis Gardeck's one of my favorite, most underrated players in the league. Just a workhorse out in Arizona. And sucks that he is done for the year now. The other Bucks wide receiver injury, Mike Evans with a hamstring injury. He is out at least 4 weeks. Gonna come back after the Bucks bye potentially. Week 11 is the bye, I believe. Ravens got good news. Corner Marlon Humphrey. He has a knee injury, not considered serious though. So he is unsure. We're unsure though if he will play this week. Titans quarterback Will Levis dealing with a grade 2 AC sprain. He is a long shot to play this week. Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson coming back from his ACL, expected to return next week. Wasn't ready for Thursday night this week, but Will is expected to return, make his season debut next week against Indy. Bad news on the Vikings front, though. Left tackle Christian Darrisaw last night, done for the year, torn ACL and MCL. Going to have surgery on that. And the Dolphins, big loss for them. Defense tackle Zach Sealer. He has a fractured orbital bone, suffered today in practice. He is out this week and indefinitely, I would say. They need to determine whether he has to have surgery or not. Ins and outs, the Cowboys defensive end Micah Parsons with an ankle injury. He is out for Sunday Night Football. Panthers going to be without wide receivers Deontay Johnson with a rib injury and Adam Thielen with a hamstring injury. Just got activated off IR. Not ready yet, though. Quarterback Andy Dalton, like I mentioned, thumb sprain. He is officially listed as doubtful. Dolphins, great news for Miami. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, he has clear concussion protocol and will start against the Cardinals this week. Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels dealing with a rib injury, unlikely to play, officially listed as questionable. Bucks rookie running back Bucky Irving dealing with a foot injury. He is expected to play. Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick ended his holdout on Monday, and he will make his Jets debut this week in New England. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor dealing with an ankle injury. He will play off the injury report. He is good to go. Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf with a knee injury. He is officially listed as doubtful. And the Eagles ruled out tight end Dallas Goedert dealing with a hamstring injury. Second game in a row missed for Goddard. Couple of releases. Surprising one. The Commanders, they have released former first-round pick defensive end Jamin Davis. Started at linebacker, was not working out there, moved to outside linebacker / defensive end, and still not working out, so he is looking to get a fresh start somewhere else. And the Bears announcing today they will release running back Velus Jones on Saturday. Switched to running back this offseason. Star of Hard Knocks, made the 53-man roster, just has not made an impact for Chicago so far. One extension to note, the Saints got a deal done with their starting running back Alvin Kamara, signing a 2-year, $24.5 million extension, signed through 2026 now, and potentially will end his career now with New Orleans. Couple other signings. The Browns, they signed quarterback Bailey Zappi off the Chiefs practice squad. I mentioned the Browns probably going to sign someone because you always want to have at least 3 healthy quarterbacks in the building for practice. And it is now Zappi in Cleveland there. The Texans, they signed Eagles linebacker Devin White, getting some depth potentially and some help at LB. The Raiders, they signed former Panthers wide receiver Terrace Marshall to their practice squad, so some depth and potential future help there. Steelers signed former Bills wide receiver Andy Isabella to the practice squad. He originally signed with the St. Louis Battlehawks, the UFL, now back in the NFL with Pittsburgh. One visit to note, the Giants lost Andrew Thomas, their left tackle, for the season to surgery, foot surgery. So they hosted Cardinals offensive tackle DJ Humphries for a visit. He's coming off an ACL injury from last year, but potential help for New York on the way. College football pick standings. It was a decent week last week. I got the week win, 24-4. Jimmy went 22-6. Logan 21-7. So I now lead Jimmy by 4. And Logan is down by 9. It's slipping away from you, Logan. Last week, Logan went 0-3 on his Lone Wolves. Louisville lost to Miami. Georgia Tech lost to Notre Dame, and Northern Illinois lost to Toledo. I went 1-1. Georgia, go Dogs, beat Texas, and South Dakota State lost to North Dakota State. And Jimmy went 0-2. Nebraska losing to Indiana, and Alabama losing it to Tennessee. So another bunch of lone wolves this week. Not one here to start, though. Tonight we have 3 games on the docket. Louisville at Boston College. Cardinals getting 7.5 on the road. I think it's a tricky one. Bill O'Brien still, despite having just a 4-3 record after a hot start, it's going to be a good game, I think. ACC battle there. And I like Louisville. I'm hesitant to take the points with them, but I do think that Boston College is going to put up a good fight at home and potentially win. So upset alert for Louisville, but 53.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 7:30 on ESPN2. Number 17, Boise State. They are on the road at UNLV. It's a 3.5-point spread for the Broncos here, and this is another upset alert, I think, tonight. Boise State, while they have been awesome, Hajj Malik Williams has really stepped up nicely after the whole quarterback situation went down with the Rebels. But Ashton Denty, once again, there's not a lot of games on. There's only going to be one other game going by the time this one kicks off. So, or while this game is going, there's only going to be one other game that kicks off. So, all eyes are on this one, and Ashton Denty make a statement again for the Heisman tonight. I don't know what his over-under is. Pennsylvania doesn't have player props, so someone tell me his over under in a different state, and we'll see, because I'm sure it's crazy. Total is 63.5. I like the over. I think both offenses are going to be outstanding in this game. I think there's going to be a ton of points, and again, Ashton Genty should have a field day. 10:30 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. Rutgers at USC. The Trojans getting 13.5 at home, looking to get back to 500. And Jimmy. Jimmy is going with the Scarlet Knights on probably the longest, I think the longest road trip that anyone could really make. Miami to Cal might be longer, but this one's pretty long. Jersey to LA. And that's why I didn't pick Rutgers. Like, this was the trip I was talking about whenever we were doing all the conference shuffling and stuff. This was always the trip I was talking about. Rutgers having to go all the way to Los Angeles is ridiculous trip. And these guys are going to be dead. They're going to be jet lagged. It's a Friday game, not a Saturday. They have one less day to prepare, one less day to travel, get acclimated. So I don't think there's any way that Rutgers can stay in this game long enough. And I just don't trust the passing game for the Scarlet Knights either. I trust Miller Moss to get this thing done, and the USC defense as well. Total here is 56.5. I am leaning on the under. 11 p.m. on Fox. Big Ten After Dark. Tomorrow, starting out with Nebraska at number 4, Ohio State. Buckeyes getting 25.5, or 25 at home, I should say. I would lean on that spread. It's kind of trappy in that sense on the spread, but I don't think they'll have any issues with Nebraska. Nebraska just got blitzed by Indiana last week, 56-7. But yeah, I think the Buckeyes win and win handily here. Total is 47.5, which is ridiculous with a 25-point spread. I am leaning on the over in that game. 12 p.m. on Fox, big noon kickoff. Number 12, Notre Dame at number 24, Navy. And Logan is doing it. Logan is going for it. He's down 9. And I got nothing to lose. But he is picking the midshipmen at home in Indianapolis. And while I wanted to do it, Logan, I just could not. I think this is where Navy's run stops. Notre Dame has one of the better defenses in the country, and Riley Leonard has found it in the passing game with Bo Collins and crew. So I think Notre Dame has improved a bunch over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I think we'll see that against Navy in a top 25 road matchup here. 50.5 is the total. That's a tough one. I would lean on the over, and I would lean on Navy plus 13.5 as well. This one is 12 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. Washington at number 13, Indiana, 6.5 points for the Hoosiers. I'm kind of surprised it is still up at 6.5, or it's down to 5.5 now, so even better. But the Curtis Work injury really has not moved this line a ton. Again, I'm kind of surprised. It's a decently long trip going from Seattle to Bloomington, halfway across the country. But I really believe in Taven Jackson. He played well in place of Curtis Work last week in a big blowout, so we didn't really have to lean on him. But they have other guys. Justice Ellison in the run game. The Indiana defense has been playing well also. So I think Indiana can sustain the Rourke injury here, get a win, a conference win against Washington, and hopefully Rourke returns next week against Michigan. Total is 55.5. I would lean on the under. 12 p.m. Big Ten Network. Oklahoma at number 18, Ole Miss. This is where my first play is that I really like. Ole Miss minus 20, I think, is a nice number. It's under that touchdown marker of 21. And I just think, Jackson Arnold's going to get the start again for OU, but this defense has been pitiful, and the offense really hasn't helped them out at all. Jackson Dart, I think, should have a great day, get the running game going, and, get out of Oxford with a nice big blowout win over a SEC opponent. 48.5 is a total. I'm leaning on the over. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Charlotte, the 49ers at Memphis. Tigers getting 17.5 at home here. And, I would lean on Memphis on the spread, but I'm not totally confident in it. The Tigers are a good, very experienced team. Seth Hennigan and crew there. But lean, not a play for me. Total is 57.5. I would lean on the under. 12 p.m. ESPNU. Another American, another AAC matchup here. Tulane at North Texas. Green Wave getting 8 on the road. I lean Green Wave 8. North Texas does scare me, though, potentially in a home upset bid. They are 5-2, lost last week to Memphis. Another big game for them against 5-2 Tulane team here. I just think Tulane has too many weapons offensively, and the Green Wave defense will shut the Mean Green defense or offense down in this one. A lot of green in this game. Mean Green, Green Wave, love to see it. 68.5 is the total in this one. I'm not touching that. I would lean on the under. 12 p.m. ESPN 2. Number 20, Illinois at number 1, Oregon. Yeah, unfortunately, Brett Bielema's squad has to go all the way to Eugene from Champaign, and it's not going to be a great trip. Oregon, I don't trust them on the spread. I've trusted them too many times this year on the spread. They let me down every single time. So I'm not trusting them to cover this spread. Potentially a lower spread, closer to 2 touchdowns, maybe less, maybe 10 points, because I do think Illinois' defense is still very good, and they could potentially give Dylan Gabriel and the offense problems. However, Luke Altmaier, in order to beat Oregon in Alton Stadium, he would have to have the game of his life against an Oregon defense that has been pretty stout the last week or two. Total is 54.5 here. I am leaning on the under just because of the defenses. 3:30, Big Ten on CBS Paramount Plus. Number 11, BYU, 7-0 Cougars at UCF. This one swung, and Logan is going with the team that it swung to. He is going with Knights. He's going with the Knights at home in the bounce house. I mean, Kalani Sitake's squad here. I think that BYU's got a great opportunity to quiet some haters, even though at 7-0, 11th in the standings, it's tough to say there's a lot of haters left. But the bettors, obviously, are the haters. They swung this line from -1 in BYU's favor to UCF -2, a 3-point swing there. Not sure what necessitated that, but I am still on the Cougars, still a believer that they have a great opportunity to contend with Iowa State and potentially win the Big 12. So I like the Cougars, even on a tough road matchup with the Gus Bus in Florida. It's actually 2.5 now for UCF. 53.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 3:30 on ESPN. Top 25 matchup, number 21, Missouri at number 15, Alabama. 17.5 points for the Tide. And if Brady Cook is out, I know Drew Pine is the backup, but I just do not trust this Missouri offense without Brady Cook. And Mizzou has been just weird even with him this year. No Nate Newell to run the ball. Marcus Carroll is going to get a lot of looks at running back, which I love. Love me some Marcus Carroll. But, yeah, I'm going with Bama minus 17. They're at home. They had a great win last week. Or they lost last week against Tennessee, and this is really an elimination game for Alabama. I really do not think they can afford to lose a third game. I don't think anyone can. And so, yeah, even though they had that big win against Georgia, 2 losses now to Vandy and Tennessee, it's getting early. It's getting late early for Alabama, so they cannot afford to lose the rest of the way if they want to make a college football playoff. And even then, it's going to be tough. So I still rolling with the Tide. Don't trust the banged up Tigers on the road. Total is 51.5. I am going to lean on the over. 330 ABC and ESPN Plus. Number 5, Texas, 18.5 point favorites at number 25, Vanderbilt. Texas coming off the loss to Georgia. I think they are going to be pissed, and I think Texas potentially rocks Vanderbilt. I know Diego Pavia has been playing awesome. They are in the top 25 for the first time in a million years, but it's going to be short-lived trip to the top 25. Vanderbilt, unfortunately, Texas, again, like I said, it's going to be pissed, and I think they're going to want to put up some points and put up some style points on Vanderbilt in Nashville. So give me Texas, hook 'em horns, and they roll. I think. Leaning on the 18.5, it's a ton of points for a great Vanderbilt team so far. Leaning on that one. However, I will go with the over 51.5. Although Texas's defense is stout, again, I think Texas is going to want to put up points themselves. So 415 SEC Network. UL Monroe, how about the Warhawks? 5-1 at South Alabama. The Jaguars just 3-4. But they are 7-point favorites at home in Mobile, and I like them. I am lone wolfing the South Alabama Jaguars. I mean, come on, guys. You don't go against USA, right? Like, you do not go against USA. So I am going to be chanting USA all day for this game. I have watched South Alabama this year, and Gio Lopez is the real deal. Fluff Bothwell is an excellent freshman. Have not watched the Warhawks, so that is one thing that might haunt me in this pick. But what I have seen from the Jaguars is that they run the ball with Bothwell. Gio Lopez also great runner at quarterback. He has receivers to throw the ball to, and I think offensively they are going to be able to get it done in this game for South Alabama. So I lean on the spread on 7. Total is 44.5. I also lean on the over 44.5 in that one. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus. Florida State, FSU at number 6, Miami. Canes getting 21 at home, and I like it. Give me Miami minus 21. I know this is a rivalry game, but I don't think it's going to matter. Brock Glenn has been terrible for FSU, and they just cannot find anything offensively. So I like the Canes to win and win big and make a statement against their rivals. 54.5 is the total. I would lean on the under. 7 p.m. on ESPN. Number 3, Penn State. We are, baby. Yes, sir. We are 6.5 point favorites on the road at Wisconsin. Of course, Mr. Badger himself, Logan, rolling with his Badgers in Madison. I don't care. You can jump around all you want. It's not going to matter. Drew Aller, Nicholas Singleton, and Tyler Warren are going to come in there and smack Wisconsin in the mouth. Penn State defense is going to play excellently under Tom Allen like they have all season, and allowing, I believe, the second fewest points in conference play this year. So, yeah, give me Penn State Wisconsin had a couple of blowout wins against low-level Big Ten schools the last 2 weeks. They're great looking at 5-2. 5-3, sir. Give me Penn State. I like the spread too. Give me PSU minus 6.5. Total is 47.5. I would lean on the under in this game because of how well the Penn State defense plays. 7:30 NBC and Peacock. Top 25, top 15 matchup in College Station. Number 8 LSU at number 14 Texas A&M, and Jimmy's rolling with the Tigers. Tigers on the road. They are a 1-point dog to the Aggies at Kyle Field, and that's why I'm picking Texas A&M. It's at Kyle Field, and it's not just at Kyle Field. It's a night game at Kyle Field. The atmosphere is electric. LSU, great win a couple of weeks ago against Ole Miss. However, that was in Death Valley. This one's at Kyle Field. I think that's going to be the difference. Nick Scorton gets after Garrett Nussmeier here, and the Aggies win. And I don't know if it's going to be a repeat of the Missouri game because that game was very one-sided. But I do think LSU has a lot better talent than Mizzou does. So we'll see. But I think Connor Wegman's been playing great football for the Aggies, and he might be the difference in this one. 12th man definitely should be. So give me A&M money line. And total is 54.5. I would lean on the over. 7:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. The Sunflower Showdown. Kansas at number 16, Kansas State. What this matchup has turned into is crazy. Kansas, a paltry 2-5. While they have looked a little bit better the last couple of weeks, Kansas State has looked great since they lost at BYU a couple of weeks ago. And I just like KSU at home in Manhattan, Kansas. Obviously, it's an interstate rivalry game. So give me KSU, and give me KSU by the points. I like them to dominate their interstate rival. I know it's a trappy feel, but if it was in Lawrence, I would feel better. It's not. This one actually might be at Sporting KC. No, because that's where Kansas plays their home games. Never mind. No, this one should be in Manhattan, I believe. So yeah, give me the Wildcats on the points. Total is 54.5. I would lean on the under. 8 p.m. on ESPN2. Number 22, SMU at Duke. Yes, sir. I am taking the Duke Blue Devils. An 11.5-point dog at home. They are 6-1, playing great football under first-year head coach Manny Diaz. The defense has been outstanding. Malik Murphy, there's a lot to be left on the board for passing the ball. However, they are running the ball very well on offense with him and their running backs. So give me the Blue Devils. It's in Raleigh. Durham, I should say. I like Duke at home. SMU, a new team to the ACC. They've been playing very well. Kevin Jennings, they finally solidified the quarterback position. I just think Duke gets it done at home as a big dog. Give me Duke. Total is 48.5. I am leaning on the under. 8 p.m. ACC Network. Cincinnati at Colorado. Jimmy loves the Bearcats. This is a couple times now this season. Jimmy has lone wolfed the Bearcats. I don't think it's worked out for him yet, but the Buffalo is getting 6.5 at home. I'm leaning on that number. It's iffy. Again, I have not actually watched Cincinnati. I've seen what their stats have been when we've done the show and had Cincinnati games. Brendan Sorsby has been really good this year for the Bearcats. However, at home in Boulder, I just think it's a great atmosphere. And Coach Prime has Shedeur Sanders playing well. Travis Hunter, not sure if he's going to play. I think he said he will. I know he said he would play last week, but I'm not sure if he's playing this week. I think he will be. So, yeah, I think they shut down this Bearcats offense with Sorsby at the helm. And maybe it's a high-scoring affair, but Colorado ultimately wins it. 56.5. They're calling for a high-scoring affair. I'll lean on the over. 10:15 p.m. on ESPN. No lone wolves here. Washington State at San Diego State. We are all on Wazoo. The Cougs getting 14.5 on the road. I like that. I'm going to buy the half a point, though, to get to 14. John Mateer has been great this year for the Cougars, and I really haven't watched San Diego State, so I couldn't tell you what they got. But at 3-3, I don't think they're going to be able to stop John Mateer. Total is 56.5. I would lean on the under. 10:30 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. The FCS game of the week, number 4, South Dakota at number 3, South Dakota State. Battle of South Dakota. Jackrabbits, massive favorites, 15.5 at home after the loss to North Dakota State last week, 13-9. Tough one in Fargo. Come back home, play another top 5 matchup against their interstate rival in the Coyotes, the Coyotes. So I've been on the Jacks the last couple of years, and I trust in Mark Gronowski. I think he will lead us to the 3rd straight national championship. It's been a rough year compared to the last 2, but give me the Jackrabbits to win this one. And it's a big one because it really could affect potentially where South Dakota State ranks in the playoffs this year. So I like SD State. Not on the spread, though. That's too many points, especially in a rivalry game. The total is 56.5, and I would lean on the under. It's a rivalry game. 7:30 p.m. ESPNU. On to the NFL. How about John? John with an 11-1 week last week. He did what Logan and I did the last week. John has been on fire, though, the last 2 weeks. 10-2, 11-1, 21-3 the last 2 weeks. And while the rest of us had okay weeks, Logan and I 8-4, Jimmy 7-5. John went all the way up and passed me because he beat me by 3. So I am now looking up to John by 1 game. Logan is down by 3, and Jimmy, you got to get it together here. 7. We're starting to get to the midway, and we're starting to look at the playoffs, man. You're close. You're teetering on the brink. Last week, lone wolves wise here, we went 2-0 collectively. I got my Jaguars pick right in London against the Patriots, and John got the Lions over the Vikings. So just 2 lone wolves again this week. Not this one, and I'm scared for this picture here. The Eagles at the Bengals. I do not like this picture, guys. This is one of those memes. But everyone is on Philadelphia, and I don't know why. I thought surely someone would take the bullet, and I thought I was being crazy being a homer and picking the Eagles, and apparently everyone else is crazy too. But yeah, give me Philadelphia plus 2.5 on the road in Cincinnati. It's a whiteout. Not going to be as effective, I think, though. It's at 1 o'clock instead of the original 4:25 slot. So earlier in the day, we'll see if it's more effective or not. But I like the way the Eagles are playing. They're running the ball well, playing great defense the last couple of weeks. And Cincinnati, I still don't think their defense has figured it out quite yet. Offensively, they have kind of been down the last couple of weeks as well. Even in wins, they have not put up a ton of points like they had been the first couple. Total is 47.5. I would lean on the over. Jets getting 7 on the road in New England, and I like the Jets to cover. It's always difficult doing a spread on a intra-division game, but yeah, I just don't trust this Patriots team. While Drake May has statistically played very well, defensively they have been run all over. So give me Breece Hall all day. Devontae Adams, I think, potentially gets into the end zone for his first touchdown as a Jet. And Hassan Reddick returns, so it even bolsters this Jets defense that has been playing pretty decent so far. Total's 40.5. I lean on the under. Packers at the Jags. Yeah, I like go Pack go. Everyone's on the same page. Give me Packers. I'm gonna go by a point down to 3. Like those round field goal touchdown numbers. So give me 3 here for the Packers. And I just think the secondary is going to be the issue here. Jordan Love is going to be able to throw the ball well against this Jacksonville secondary. And while the offense has stepped up the last couple of weeks for Jacksonville, not sure that they're going to be able to do that against the Jeff Hafley defense. So go Pack go. Total is 49.5. I lean on the under. Titans at the Lions. Yeah, it's a lot of points. 11 for Detroit. But they've the Titans have traded their maybe 2 best players, DeAndre Hopkins and Ernest Jones. L'Jarius Sneed's still on this team, so he's going to be on Amon-Ra St. Brown probably most of the day. Is it enough, though? I don't think so. I think the Titans are going to be able to run the ball despite the Titans being a pretty stout front 7. I'd like Montgomery and Gibbs to have a good day on the ground. And I'm not going to play Lions minus 11. That's just a lot of points. I do like it, though, if you want to play it. Total is 44.5. I lean on the over. Falcons at the Bucks, first split of the day. Jimmy and I, we are together on Atlanta, and Logan and John are on the Bucks. I like Atlanta minus 2.5. I got burned by Atlanta last week against Seattle. It was the same spread, essentially. But I just cannot trust Tampa Bay without the receivers, Evans and Godwin. It's going to have to be Kate Otten. It's going to have to be rookie Jalen McMillan. Veteran Sterling Shepard as well should play a prominent role. So, and they're going to play a lot of the running backs, Rashad White, Bucky Irving, and Sean Tucker, potentially all 3 on the field at the same time to just help out this depleted wide receiver room. But yeah, I like Atlanta minus 2.5 to get this one on win on the road up for first place here in this game. Total's 45.5. I am leaning on the over. Cardinals at the Dolphins, and just like Jimmy likes betting, playing the Bear Cincinnati, he also likes the Cardinals of Arizona. Yeah, this is all about Tua Tagovailoa being back in this game. I like Miami in this one. I'm not going to play them just because the uncertainty about Tua, but I am starting Tua in a league, so we will see how that goes. Total is 46.5. I like the over 46.5, especially with Zach Sealer done out this week on the defensive line. I think James Conner is going to have a good day. Dennis Gardeck out for the Cardinals, so another tough situation pass rush wise for Arizona, though. Ravens at the Browns. I'm leaning on Ravens minus 8.5. I think it's a good situation. Jameis Winston steps in at quarterback for Cleveland, though, and Ravens get this one done. 44.5 is the total, and I am leaning on the under. Last 1 o'clock game here, Colts at the Texans. Texans getting 5 at home, and I am leaning on Houston minus 5. I'll play Houston minus 3, actually. Total is 45.5. Give me the over in that game. Quick intermission real quick here. We're going to be back in 1. All right, we are back here. Looking at the Saints and the Chargers starting off the 405 slate. Yeah, I really like LA. Give me LA -7. I think Spencer Rattler still at the helm. It's going to be a very difficult task. The Saints defense really has to play great in order to stop the LA offense, just like Arizona did, really. But I just don't trust Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and I don't trust the Saints to be able to score points against this Chargers defense. So LA -7, I really like. Total is 41.5. I am leaning on the under. Bills at the Seahawks. Yes, Buffalo getting 3 on the road. And John being a homer. He is being a homer, going with his Seahawks, and it's close. I do believe this is going to be a very close game. Buffalo just speaks more to me. I think that the addition of Amari Cooper played out very well last week for the Bills, and I still have question marks about the offensive line and the defense for Seattle. Despite having a great game against Atlanta last week, I think Greg Russo and AJ Epinesa should be able to get some pressure on Geno Smith in this game. So I'm not touching the spread, but total is 46.5. I am leaning on the over. Panthers at the Broncos. Yeah, it's a difficult situation for Bryce Young, man. Give me Broncos -10. I know it's tough betting double-digit spreads in the NFL. However, this one just screams Broncos killing the Panthers. No Thielen, no Johnson at wide receiver. I think the Panthers are quickly going to become one-dimensional with Chuba Hubbard. Although the rookies could step up. Jatavian Sanders at tight end has been playing very well. Tommy Tremble is supposed to be back for this game at tight end as well. Xavier Legette, unfortunately for him, though, I think he is, because he's going to be the number one option essentially in the passing game, he's going to get Pat Surtain matched up with him. So not great assignment, even if he was on Riley Moss having a good season. So it's going to be a very difficult situation for Carolina offensively and defensively. I mean, they have not been able to stop anyone. Bo Nix, although he is a rookie, they have been running the ball very well with Javonte Williams, which is a weak point for the Carolina defense. So I like Broncos -10 route in Denver. I hate having to bet against my own team, but the Panthers just aren't good. It's just as simple as that. Total is 40.5. I lean on the over. I mean, we've seen points being put up against this Panthers team in bunches. Bears, another split here. Bears at the Commanders. And Jimmy and I, once again, are together. We are on Chicago. Jimmy has bet on the entire NFC North this week. Bears, Packers, and Lions, and, of course, the Vikings last night. 0-for-1 we are, Jimmy, so far, betting on the NFC North this week. Hopefully it doesn't become a trend. But my thing in this one is more than likely Jaden Daniels not going to play. So I am picking Caleb Williams. I am picking the Chicago defense against Marcus Mariota, who did look good last week. But who are they playing? The Panthers. So it's not really an indication of how well Marcus Mariota can operate this offense. It's the Chicago defense is really going to give him issues, especially with the offensive line not being the greatest for Washington. And on the other side of the ball, I just don't know if Washington's going to be able to stop the Bears' attack in DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze, and DeAndre Swift, all playing out for Caleb Williams. So give me Chicago, and I like the Bears on the spread. Give me Chicago -3. Total is 43.5. I lean on the under. Chiefs, 9.5 points at the Raiders. I am leaning on this KC spread. I could see them covering, but I'm not totally confident in it because it is a divisional game. And Gardner Minshew is back at the helm for Vegas, and he has not played great. This Raiders defense is okay. The Chiefs defense, however, is outstanding, even without Jalen Watson for the rest of the year. They're still very good. So I like the Chiefs, as does everyone else. I think it's going to be a tough day for Las Vegas. Total is 41.5. I lean on the under. Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys at the 49ers. Yeah, give me San Fran. Give me San Fran on the points. I'm going to buy a half, get to 4, potentially buy 1.5 to get to 3. But I like 4 for San Francisco. They have completely dominated the Cowboys the last couple of times they've played in the regular season. I don't think it's going to be any different in this one. Still without DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons ruled out for this game. So what do they have defensively? While the 49ers have issues at wide receiver, no Brandon Ayuk for the rest of the year. Deebo Samuel, probably questionable for this game. But Jawan Jennings has shown it doesn't matter. He's been a great asset to have this year, and I think he's going to show up and show out, especially if Deebo can play. Trayvon Diggs is going to be on him. So Jerron Bland going to be on Jawan Jennings, and Bland just has not been the same guy this year. So I like him. I like Ricky Pearsall. Give me George Kittle working in the middle of the field against the beat-up linebacking core for Dallas. And again, give me San Fran to not roll, but I think they will win at least by a score there by a touchdown. Obviously, I like -4. So 47.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 8:20 p.m. NBC and Peacock. Best bets of the week. 2-1 again last week. Brings my season total to 13-7-1. So it's been pretty good this year, especially compared to last year. Last year, the last couple of years has been horrendous. 2022, 23, 27-4. And last year was pretty much the same, 24, 29-1. But this year been pretty good. 13-7-1 through the first 7 weeks. So let's get another 2-1, 3-0 week here and roll it. So last week I hit on the Eagles -3 at the Giants, lost the Falcons -2.5 against the Seahawks, and then I won the Commanders -7.5 against the Panthers. So this week I'm going to the Falcons again, which is scary, -2.5 at the Bucks. Again, I just like that. No wide receiver help for Baker right now with Evans and Godwin gone. So I like the Falcons to get a bounce back game after their loss to Seattle last week and win by 3 or more. Broncos, this is the line I got early in the week, 7.5 against the Panthers at home. Again, I'm playing it to 10. I don't care. 10 is fine. They should be able to cover that anyways. So give me the Broncos to roll the Panthers like everyone else has been doing. And the 49ers, exactly what I said. It's up to 4.5 right now. But I like 4 at home against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. I think that's a great line. And they have had historic success and recent success against Dallas. Just too many injuries on the Dallas front for defensively. So I like San Fran -4 on Sunday Night Football. Lock standings. Yeah, last week, second week in a row, boys. We are rolling on the locks. Back-to-back 4-0 weeks for the squad. Logan went with Logan went with the Commanders against the Panthers. Give me pick. I went with the Eagles against the Giants. And John and Jimmy, they both went with the Bills getting a win over the Patriots, if I can remember right. Oh, no, the Titans went over the Titans there. So, Jimmy and I, we are still up 1 game on Logan and John at 4-3, 5-2 for Jimmy and I. Here we go. Logan this week, he is rolling with his Packers. The Packers playing in Jacksonville. I like that. I think he should win that one. I'm going with the Jets. The Jets are in New England at Gillette Stadium. So I like the Jets to cover the spread there and win. Jimmy, he is going with the Ravens in Cleveland. Again, we are all on that one. So not sure if they cover, but they should win in Jameis Winston's first start as a Brown. And John, he's picking the only home team in the quartet here, going with the Texans against the Colts. Again, not sure if they cover the spread, but I do think they win. I'm going to be tougher with Jonathan Taylor back this week. Dog standings. Logan jumped me last week. He went 2-0. And John, look at John getting his first outright win this year. 2-0. He's creeping up on Jimmy now, just a half game back there in last. But, last week, Logan getting an outright win at Chiefs +2.5 at the 49ers. They won outright. I got a cover by the Texans +2.5 at the Packers. They should have freaking won the game, but I got a cover at least. They only lost by 2. So I went 1-1. Jimmy, I don't know what you're thinking betting on the Patriots. Patriots +6 at the Jags. They lost and did not cover. And then John went with his hometown Seahawks +3 at the Falcons, and they won outright. So Logan is now a half game up on myself. He is 5.5 up on Jimmy and 6 up on John there. I believe that's how that math works out. Not sure with the ties and whatnot. But let's get to the dogs of the week here, and I don't like it. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Logan, Jimmy, and I, we are all on the Eagles +2.5 at the Bengals. Guys, why are you doing this to me? You're just asking for the Eagles to lose by everyone picking Philadelphia, and now 3 of us are on the dog. I don't like it. I do not like it. So we will hopefully we win. John is the only smart one. He is on the Commanders +3 home against the Bears. And even that's not smart, John, because I am against you. I am picking Chicago to win that one. Maybe they win by 2 to get you a cover, but don't bank on it. I like Bears -3 with Marcus Mariota starting this week. And that is the show for today. We do have some other updates, though. I saw Joey Bosa. Good news for LA. Joey Bosa said he is expecting to play. So glute strain for him, but is expecting to play. And Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, potentially a game time decision, listed as questionable with his rib injury. So great news for LA, though. Even better news for my -7 spread on the Chargers. Next week, we'll talk NFL Week 9, get you all your game recaps, all your game previews as well. And, of course, all the news that you need to get you set up for your football weekend. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Make sure you check out the college football starting tonight at 7:30, and we will see y'all back on Monday.